to transition to a segment that we play with every coach here on the show. It's a segment we call Start, Sub, or Sit. And so we'll give you 3 basketball topics, and you'll choose which one to start, which one you would sub, and which one you would sit, and we'll have a little fun discussion. This first topic is on building trust with your players. So start, sub, or sit, these 3 different scenarios, best ways that you like to build trust. So first one would be small pre or post practice interactions on the floor, maybe a minute or 2 before practice or after. The second option is an official sit down meeting in your office, bring a player in, sit and talk. Or the third option is something off the court, say sharing a meal together, or I know you like to cook. So something outside of basketball to build trust. So start, sub, sit, those 3 options.
I cannot answer to you because there are players that need to go in the office. There are players that I call at my place and I cook a very good Italian dinner with a very good bottle of wine and maybe even a cigar. That are players that I try to don't overwhelm with my request with quick chat before, maybe with 3-5 clips, or after the practice. So all 3 works perfectly. It depends on who you have in front. There are players that are seeking attention. Like there are women that are seeking attention. There are men that are seeking attention. That are relatives that are seeking attention. It's not a sin. It's part of the life. So when you have a player that is seeking attention, if you do this informal, maybe even at your home, he will feel, he's opening the door of his house. And I do open to my players. I do this very often, and I don't see anything wrong that can happen. Some of them will feel great. Some of them will be a little, won't trust, or why is calling me here? What? Okay. But some players just want to have a basketball relation and want to be guided in basketball. So a quick chat, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 5 minutes before the practice so I make you this example, I always come to the practice and I pick 2-3 players and I ask them, players that I'm trying to develop, and I ask him, what is your goal for today? Oh, coach, to have a good practice. I said, not enough. This is goal for everybody. What is your personal goal? To go hard. And I say, oh, this is too general. Again, everybody wants to go hard. And then no more idea, no more things to say. So I said, you have to have a purpose every day. Otherwise, you are not gonna explore all your potential. And he's looking at me, staring at me like a deer, with big eyes. I said, your purpose is maybe today you come and you make all passes on pick and roll with the left hand, because maybe next team is going to force you to the left. I'm throwing things on the table. Or maybe you want to work on your step back and you shape your offense through this. I don't say you take 50 step backs, but you build, and it's the purpose. And, they, yes. And from that, you have first to teach them how to have a purpose. Some other players that need, when they're fucking the scoreboard, okay, you can call them in the office. Listen, what do you want to do? Are we going to go to the war the whole season? What do you want to do? I don't believe that you can I don't believe anymore in the system where you go to the player and say, we do like this because I said it that we have to do like this. At my age, when my father was saying to me something, and I will never take in consideration how he was saying the things. I will focus only on what he's saying. Now, if you don't deliver the message in the way the person in front of you is expecting you to deliver the message, the message won't go through. It won't go through. So I like your game, but like I do all three things every day.
Yeah. No, you're not the first coach to start all the options. Yeah. So don't worry. It happens quite often. But Coach, Pat, did you have a follow-up? Go ahead.
Yeah. Coach, quickly, when you were talking about encouraging your players to set goals for practice, it made me think, how do you view, or your view of mistakes in practice? So if the player's going to try to pass with left hands, then how are you dealing with mistakes and allowing them to happen versus when they're a detriment and getting on?
If there is a categories of mistakes, the mistake that we are fighting, that I'm fighting very hard, is the mental mistakes, unforced mistake, or mistakes that are coming from poor concentration, poor focus, sloppy day, not having a target, just wanted to survive. I don't want my players to survive. I want my players to go and use their time. I always say to young players, today you had a bad practice. You know that this practice, you're never going to get it back in your life. You wasted one opportunity. Think how many opportunities in a career you will waste. So it's so important that they understand that the only way they have to get better is through practice and through doing things. So if a player makes 5 turnovers because he's trying to pass the ball to the left with the left, I'm good with that. I will maybe be more demanding to the others to help him, because if he doesn't pass the ball so good, we have to be open better. So we can play with his flaws. It's always a team game. It's not tennis. It's not forehand, backhand, smash. Right. So if a player has less in one area, somebody else can have more in that area. Yeah. So I'm passing the ball slow with the left because my left hand is not good. So all the team should know that we have to be better in timing, better in getting open, setting better screens to give him more time. Like this, you encourage one player and you show that the whole team should care about him. It's a mental thing. So I just cannot stand mental mistakes. I am very bad with players that comes to practice and they just want to sweat. I don't give a damn if they just want to sweat. I want that their brain sweats. Mm-hmm. I want that they're tired mentally after a bit, because this is the only way to be better.
Absolutely. Facing
adversity and finding solution. Yeah. This is the life.
All right, Coach, our next one. We're going back to actually the non-shooter situation, but this time you're defending a non-shooter. And so your preference for how you want to defend a non-shooter who's caught it on the perimeter, have the defender continue to gap him, have the defender pressure him, or have the defender pick him up on the first dribble?
I let him alone the whole game.
Okay.
And if he makes one, I'm happy. You know why? Because I'm going to take another one and he's going to take the ball out of the hands of a better shooter. So my first thing is gap. Second thing is, no, there's no second and third. Both second and third, for me, it's not logical. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you worried at all about then secondary actions, that if they get it and he goes into a handoff or right into another screen and that your guy is too deep or with the gap, how are you then counteracting that?
First of all, whenever you have a clear choice as a coach, defensive choice, you have to be ready to raise the hand. It's on me if they score. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to lose the trust of the players. Okay. So second thing, we should have in the system how to guard the handoff by yourself without the help. And let's say one time can happen that we are late and we receive a bucket. Next time should not happen, because if we are gapping, we know that we have to be by ourselves. We cannot go through. So basically, if I'm playing off you and you go hand off, the guard should do it by himself, trying to deny and force. And the only thing is you should look at is force him to drive towards the gap player.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's all about being organic.
Yeah. Coach, does it change your philosophy at all on that? If, let's say, the non-shooter is a terrific passer, like they just can really pick you apart passing, like would you want more pressure, or does it stay the same for you?
This makes a difference.
Okay.
Because good passers are really rare. And in this case, I would do something different. I will try to be aggressive, tough, but whenever he drives and whenever he calls the help, I don't want to help. So I want that he beats me with floaters, with jumpers, not with 10 assists.
This next start sub sit is, if you could be next year the best team in the Euro League in this statistical category, which one would you take? So start sub sit, the best team with the best rebounding margin, the best rebounding team with the best turnover margin, takes care of the ball the best, or the team with the best free throw margin, gets to the line the most?
Hands down, rebounding.
Okay. Okay.
Hands down. Then turnovers and then free throws.
Okay.
Hands down, rebounding. If you grab rebound, you win the games. Hands down.
Coach, my follow-up then is going back now to our identity piece in the beginning and instilling this preseason. How are you actively instilling that rebounding identity, say right now in the preseason?
One of my favorite guys in sport is Bill Belichick. Okay. He gives you so simple answers that to very complicated questions. I love him. Every time he opens his mouth, he's a legend. Okay. Yes. So one time, 10 years ago, he won another Super Bowl, and I saw the press conference or an interview later. How you can make your players playing so tough? And it was mumble, and said, hey, you better sign tough players. If you want to rebound, you need bodies, you need athletes, you need players that have the predisposition to go to rebound. There are guards that are able to have 5-6 rebounds in their whole career. You need to have one or two of these for sure. Even a 6'3" player can have 5-6 rebound because he's chasing the ball. So I don't believe you can practice a lot about this. Or maybe you can, but maybe in high school, not playing 90 games. Yeah. And the other thing is, you need to have a system that covers you in specific situation, like when you are rotating, when you have a mismatch and all this thing. But you need players that wants to rebound.
Sure. Coach, my follow-up, you just said something really interesting about a system on a mismatch or when you're rotating for rebounding. Could you just go a little deeper on like a potential system you would have on a rebound like that?
Okay. Often, but I don't know if this is usable in NBA. So basically, how you're going to be punished on a mismatch, that the big guy will push the small guy under the rim where there's no rebound. Okay. So the big guy is going forward against contact. So the only thing you can do is involve a third guy that is usually a guard or a wing coming behind his action to go to tip the ball from the hands of the big guy. So you can ask your guard, hey, box out. But when you have, difference of size, okay, sure, and of weight, you cannot expect more. So I believe you need to have a team with sense of urgency, to have an extra player to rotate, jumping free and not with contact, because the big guy is fighting and he will grab a rebound on his strength, more on his leaping ability. So I want to counter this with a wing or a guard coming from behind, jumping over his back without looking for the contact to tip the ball.
Are you telling them to tip the ball to any area in specific, or just to simply get your hand on the ball, keep it alive?
Usually you have to build the things step by step. Okay. First, to me, it's enough to see my players going to tip the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you install this habit, you can teach them, before you jump, give a look. Usually the opposite elbow will be open, because when there is a switching and a shot, they have mismatch in the transition. So they are always players running back earlier, because if you don't grab the rebound, usually you have the leak out, because maybe the big guy is contesting the shot of the guard and he leaks out. So maybe if you tip the ball towards the area where the shot comes from, you have an advantage. But this is not PlayStation. This is human beings. I'm happy with my players going to tip the ball.
Yeah. Do you make a distinction, offensive and defensive rebounding, as far as your preference of, what you put a lot of time into with the rebounding margin?
There are two different things of the same family. Defensive rebounding is a concentration, positioning, desire, sacrifice. Offensive rebound is system. You have to decide who goes, when it goes. And I believe the corner crash is something very important. And I relate this to my D transition. So defensive rebounding, there's not a lot of tactics. Offensive rebounding, there is a lot of tactics. So the best way to don't receive a fast break is to apply pressure on offensive rebound, because you want a team to don't get a clean rebound, to make a clean, quick pitch or head pass, So like this, if they have to jump and you are on them, you will slow down the first 2-3 seconds of the fast break. So it's two totally different topics of the same family.
Okay.
Coach, on that thread, and that was my follow-up, with the offensive rebounding, have you given thought then to sending 5 guys to the offensive rebound, to, if, like you said, the benefit that's going to curtail their fast break? Or do you have sort of a limit of, that's too many, 3 is enough?
I thought about that, but then I understood that you cannot fool your players. So from a philosophical standpoint, wow, we send 5 players for the rebounds. But then you send 5-11 guards to rebound. How many opportunities you will have to get the rebound? I believe that I always say to my player, too much is equal to nothing. I prefer to have 3 players to go for offensive rebound and to have the desire to spin off the first obstacle. If you have players that, when there is a box out, they spin off that in whatever direction, you're going to put so much stress to the defensive box out, and you're going to get a lot of boards. So let's go with 3, sometimes with 4, but with 5.
Yeah.
Maybe when the point guard is there, he misses his layup, he can grab his own rebound, but you cannot make a system on that.
Coach, you are off the start sub sit hot seat. So thanks for playing that game with us. That was a lot of fun.